The African perception about marriage. Once you get married, or once you are married, it is expected of you to start making babies. Bear in mind, this is not coming from like a bad point of view. It's actually in the good interest of about 80% of families and friends who actually wish or look forward to hearing you have become a mother once you have like few months after you have gotten married. So in my case, after a couple of months going into a year, good friends, families, relatives, etc., they were looking forward to hearing, hey, I've had a baby, and all of that. But that wasn't my intention. I wasn't ready yet because I wanted to explore the world. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to do lots of things before becoming a mother. Little did I know, I had conceived and I had zero idea. Zero idea. So me, I was just doing my thing, doing all the active stuff you can think of, like active stuff, until I found out the first miscarriage, which was a spontaneous one. Well, so a spontaneous miscarriage is more or less like the loss of pregnancy, which is usually before 20 weeks, and it usually happens when you don't even know you are pregnant. So it's at the early stages. Yeah. So I had a spontaneous miscarriage even before I found out I was pregnant. That was the first. The first one. But I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't bothered. I wasn't worried because I didn't even know about it, and I wasn't ready. So I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't worried. I wasn't disturbed. Nothing, because I wasn't ready. I didn't have an idea, and so yeah, I took it in a very good faith, and life continued. So fast forward, I think after a couple of months again, I found out I was pregnant. And that was around, I don't remember if it was of 4 to 6 weeks. That was when I found out. So when I found out, I was happy, even though I wasn't prepared, or even though it wasn't planned. I was still happy about it. And then I went about my usual duties. One day at work, I had to do a shift in a different branch or a different location from my usual workplace. And I had finished this shift. I was going to get changed and then go home. That was when I realized I was having little spottings here and there, and I was wondering what could possibly be wrong, only to find out the next day I had another miscarriage, the second one. And I wasn't too disappointed, because I wasn't too disappointed, though it was sad, but I didn't really let that affect me, because it wasn't planned, though I was happy about it. And I took it in good faith, and it was still early. So yeah, fast forward in 2020 sometime, I found out again that I was pregnant. This time around, I was really excited, because it was somehow not planned, but it was like a 50-50. There were possibilities that, hey, this time around I could get pregnant, though it wasn't planned. So I was excited. I had come back from one of my usual holiday trips, so I was really excited and I was looking forward to it. and this one went to about 6 weeks. And one day I went to work, going about my usual work duties, and I was halfway through my shift. I needed to use the toilet quickly, only for me to find out I was bleeding. But I thought it was a usual spotting, because sometimes in the pregnancy journey you do have these spottings and all of that, so I thought it was one of those. In the middle of my shift again, I could feel unease. I went back to the toilet to check, and I realized this time around I was bleeding more and more. So I used the toilet again, and I realized the bleeding was getting intense. And I was wondering, what is it again? I was hoping it wasn't another miscarriage, but I kept my hopes high. I went back to my desk to continue with my work duties, and I still felt unease. I went back into the toilet about 4 to 5 times, and this time it was so bad. I was just bleeding like that. So I had to finish my shift. I went back home thinking it would be like nothing serious. Throughout the night, it was like that. I bled profusely. It was throughout the night. And this time around, it hit me so hard, because this one, I was really hopeful about it. I was positive about it, and I was excited I was going to be a mom. So the next day I had to call the GP, and I told them about the incident, and they asked me to come into the GP. I went to the GP and they asked me to go to the hospital. I had to go to the hospital, like the main hospital. I went there. They asked me some questions. I answered them. And unfortunately, what I didn't want to hear, I had to hear it again for the 3rd time. Unfortunately, I had a miscarriage again. This time around, the pregnancy was very solid, and I was really excited about it. So this time around, it hit me really hard, because I was excited about this. But then again, I had to keep my hopes high. And the sad part of it all was when I walked through those doors by myself, through to see the gynae. They asked me to go on the bed, and they had to do a scan, internal one. They had to do the internal scan to check my womb and be sure everything had cleared up, or everything was clearing up in the right way. And when I went on that bed, looked on the screen whilst they were checking, oh God, it wasn't easy. It was really a very emotional, and it was a very sad one. It was a very sad one when I was looking on that screen that day. Yeah, it really was. But they were they were positive that everything was gonna clear up, and it was nothing to worry about. There were no complications. It wasn't going to affect me and all of that. So they really gave me some high hopes, and they encouraged me. And then I had to leave the hospital to go home. What they said to me was, in the next couple of days, I should just be on the lookout to be sure everything had cleared up, everything had come up. And when I was leaving the hospital, it was all tears. I'm smiling now, but on that day, it wasn't easy. It was a very tough one for me. Yeah. So I went home, I pulled myself together, and then continued with my life. When everything went back to normal, I went back to work. I was doing everything as normal, and in all of these, I still didn't have plans of wanting to get pregnant. I mean, like, some people plan, they go like, oh, maybe when you get married, or at this stage of my life, at this point in the life, you want to get pregnant at this day and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, guys, can you imagine? You're not going to believe this. So, just when doctors have confirmed you have had a miscarriage, in less than a month, actually, everything had cleared up. Everything had cleared up. It was confirmed. And in less than a month, I started feeling sick from nowhere. I had no idea why I was feeling sick. And then having a pregnancy test was the least I could think of at that point in time, because I knew there was no way it was going to be pregnancy. So I called the GP and I told them I wasn't feeling well, and they asked me to still keep checking, and if I wasn't getting any better, I should call back. And then I called my very own person, who is also a doctor, and I spoke to her about this. I told her about the immediate miscarriage I had and how I was feeling, and she said to me that sometimes everything doesn't clear up, and there are some left which could give you signs like you are still pregnant. So I should just be calm and be 100% sure everything had cleared up. I said, okay, that's all right. And then I still went about my normal life, but I was still feeling sick. I started having morning sickness suddenly. I started feeling very weak. I started having these bits and pieces of pregnancy symptoms, but like I said, it wasn't an option, because obviously it was just not an option. And then I had to do a pregnancy test, because the way I was feeling, Charlie, I needed to just do it to be sure. I took the test, and guess what? Yes, you guessed right. The test was positive. And I'm like, how is this possible? How is this possible? I didn't believe it. In fact, I took three different tests just to be sure, because I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Not because I didn't have faith or I didn't have hopes, but it was just to believe it. Then I called the GP again, and guess what? I had to go in to the hospital again. I went to the hospital and they did further tests. Guess what again? Leave your guesses in the comment section and we will find out. what the test revealed. Hello everyone, my name is Nanama. If you are watching me, just know I'm here to share my story, and I hope it inspires you or it encourages you. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button to be a part of my new YouTube family. Thank you for watching to this end, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.